Okay, we're trying this again. Hi. Jeez. Oh, Lord. All right. Let's see how this goes this time. Let's see if I can play with a bit of the mood lighting in here if I can. See, that makes no difference in here. I've gone completely red, but because of that light, it just makes it look softer. You can walk in here and I've got like bright red lights in here. So anyways, I accidentally closed the stream, had a little bit of trouble starting it back up. I knew I'd have to kind of fiddle around with it to get it to restart it again. I couldn't enter back into the old stream. I had to start a new one. And so I'm back. I've invited Mr. Chris Runciman to come join if he's there. I can get. Let me just get the invite code. Copy. I think that's it. And yeah, okay. Let's just drop that in. Let's see if I can do that. Boo. And oops. Oh, that opened that in the wrong window. Uh-huh. Maybe you can come join me. Be nice to have somebody in here to chat with. Where are we here? I'm hoping on Wednesday to continue the art block with my friends Vince and Enrique. I'm hoping they'll be available. I should try and contact them and find out how the things are looking for them for Wednesday. If there's a problem, we might have to postpone it, perhaps. But usually they're pretty good. I should get a hold of them though and find out what's going on with that. Otherwise, though. I am. Hi, Paul. How are you? I thought you may have turned in. Good to see you. I am live at the moment. You know what? I'm going to put this in here, and if you want to join as well, I'm hoping to get Chris in here. And if you want to hop in as well, you're certainly more than welcome to. I'm jumping between a whole bunch of different windows, just trying to sort all this out. I've had so many issues today, and this has just not gone as I had planned it to. This big idea weeks ago, I was going to do this big sort of Halloween live thing, and it's turned into a bit of a mess. Oh, you are in bed. Okay, all right, no worries then, Paul. But thanks for coming in and saying hi, though. It's always good to see you. Hey, I got Chris on the line. Hold on here, Chris. Let me see if I can add you in. And we got somebody named Junebug Films in here. Hello, how are you? I'm gonna add in. There you are.
Hey, buddy.
Hopefully, I'll create an echo. Are you in okay?
I'm here. Did I?
Awesome.
Okay.
Great.
Sorry about that. I couldn't
no
figure out
worries.
the link, so I was looking all over the place, and then I heard you say Facebook. So I've been watching every iteration of you trying to get through your internet tonight, and trying to like every time, let you know people are paying attention.
Sorry
about that you went through such a hassle to get online, but I'm glad you did.
Oh. So, hey, happy birthday to Junebug Films.
Hey!
Hey, and it's
the Canadian All-Stars, Paul says. That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I had hoped, a few weeks back, I really had this idea. I thought for Halloween, I want to do like a big, sort of a big live stream and see if I can try and
Yeah.
invite some people in and get the place decorated. I thought all this would be finished by this time, and and it's just. Yeah, and it kind of, even today, I didn't expect, to have the internet come crashing down on me this half the bloody day, and there's been technical difficulties getting.
This is something that I don't think a lot of people necessarily account for in general. And bear with me for a second. Oh, happy birthday, Junebug Films. I just noticed that. Hey, and hi, Paul Pate. The processes that an artist goes through, a creative individual, whatever endeavor it is, the processes that people go through are really contingent upon the fact that you have a sense of comfort or a sense of equilibrium. And whether it's your working environment, whether it's your day-to-day life or your relationships or any kind of engagements that we have, there has to be some degree of an established, stayed amount of things that we've got in place. And so whenever you go through upheaval, and let's be honest, Philip, you've had some upheaval this year with the room, with the house situation, your roommate, the one roommate you had, and the problems that they caused, and then that roommate's departure, the people upstairs and all their chaos, and then you got
you remember all this.
I have a memory of an elephant. And then your studio, your beautifully set up studio that you have downstairs, there's got to be some adjustments in the building and some repairs. So you're going to have to move your studio. And now you're bringing that up multiple floors to set up in your apartment that you still share with a roommate. Now you have to set that whole studio up again. If you don't have the time or the equilibrium that you can sit down and set up some lights, I think people can forgive that. I think that sometimes we're too hard on ourselves as creatives because we have these lofty ideas and ambitions, and sometimes they are lofty, and other times they're, I just want to do something fun. But as a creative person, we need to have a sense of that comfort there, so that we can just sit down and make mark on surface, right?
Do it. Yeah.
And you're in that place now. You've got your tablet turned on. We're hanging out. Have you got a Gothic cathedral set up behind you and you're dressed like Count Dracula? No, but
no,
neither do I.
No.
And maybe that part's okay, right? Like at the end of the day, what's important is that you're sitting here, you got your health, and you got your tablet open with a pen in your hand, ready to roll, right?
Yeah.
It's the little victories we got to take, and if we can just process those for ourselves, because I've had a bit of anxiety in the last week as well, trying to sort out different things, and I've had grandkids with me, and that's a lot of engagement, and then when you do get the chance to sit down, there comes that, well, here's the things I have to do, here's the things I want to do. I tend to want to do the things that aren't the things that I have to do. So we all got to find that equilibrium. We all got to find that basis of understanding for ourselves, so that we can just get down to what's important, and that is the getting the juices flowing and getting the creativity out there. That tends to be where my headspace is. I don't know about others, but well, there you go. Did you just highlight? Oh, I see that on there. Okay.
I just highlighted it. Yeah. I don't see it.
Nice.
Forget that I have that feature on here. So
yeah, I do too. I did. That's why I'm like, ooh, magic buttons happened.
Yeah.
That's Paul's dead on the money there, right? You just gotta accept those moments. I mean, Paul Pate, here's a guy, okay, who spends that much time putting together this film project, and the arduousness of that. And the sense that he has in his studio of, here's this computer constantly set up behind him that is just calling him work on the next sequence, work on it, work. It's like even that is there's these little motivations, these little contributors that incite us to either do the things that our wishy-washy creative brains just want to gravitate towards, and then there's that practical applied artist part of ourselves that says, no, I got to do the things that I got to do. Maybe let go of setting up the Gothic castle of a studio. Right?
Yeah.
I look forward to your studio when it's done there. Whenever that happens.
It's coming closer. I have to pick up 2 more shelf units. A friend of mine's supposed to come help me get them either tomorrow or Wednesday. Do a little bit of shifting, bring the rest of the stuff up. And then at that point, I just hang a few things on the wall here, and it's going to be in stages. Some of it's not going to be done for quite a while, but if I can get to this kind of final point that I need to kind of just move forward from here, then I'm good. And then there's going to be little add-ons over the course of next year to kind of build on it. So.
Oh, sure. Right.
But,
and
and
there's always that part of you that's always going to fiddle around in your studio anyways and change things.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I am notorious, absolutely notorious for that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that we have in place here to try to nudge that, assuage that, well, maybe I'll redecorate a little bit motion that I have going on in the back of my head constantly, is I've set things up like this. Behind me, I have one of these little, you put the letters on it and it lights up behind there.
Okay, yeah.
Things. Right now it says, we're going to make a hot cereal lover out of you, out of me, out of you. Right?
Right.
Just so dumb. But changing those letters up there, that's enough of an effort that I'm sidetracked now and I just got to get to work. So, look at this. Yeah. Oh, look at all the multiple U's that appeared. That was good. Now you're there you are.
Oh, there. Oh, yeah. I had to switch. I keep forgetting this screen. Actually, to avoid that, I can flip to this, so I can switch to that now. While it's on me, I can come over and change, because I am going to change. I'm in Photoshop, but I actually want Clip Studio Paint, so I'm going to switch over.
Now, what is the benefit of Clip Studio? I've never personally tried the difference between the two. Can you lay that out for me, what that is?
Boy, a lot of it is the same, but the nice thing with Clip Studio, like Photoshop, is like everything. It's like for artists, it's for photographers, it's graphic designers, etc. It's sort of become this multi-platform thing. And I still use it because I feel like I can control, if I need to do titling or block letters, things like that, I have a little more control over it in Photoshop. But the bonus, though, with that I like in Clip Studio, a couple of things. One of them, it's great for comic book artists, especially if you're working digitally and you want to draw and or color your comics digitally, because it lays out, it has this whole system set up, and I'm going to show you in just a moment here. As Paul says, it has all the comic tools. It lays out your boxes, your bubbles, you can control your arrows, and you can lay in your text, and it's just has it all there that you can just click and do instantly, as opposed to in Photoshop you have to kind of try and build everything, where Clip Studio, all those pieces are there and you can just drop them in place and just go. And I really like that. I also like the way it displays its tools a little better. I find I can get my pencils and ink tools and whatever, I just find it a little bit easier to where I can reach over and grab them. But let me bring it up here in just a moment, and I can maybe show you a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I think that maybe you guys are talking me into switching.
Now, if you do switch, there's one little thing they've done recently, is that they've announced, it used to be just basically you'd pay $50-$60. I forget what it is Canadian. I think it was, oh, nice. And you had this one flat payment and you had it permanently. And it's still going to be kind of like that, but they've announced that they're upgrading to a new system and they're going to be laying out a new payment plan. And a little, people are a bit frustrated because the payment plan is a little bit confusing because it depends on when you paid for your one-time use purchase. If you want to buy, because now for the upgrades, it's going to cost a little bit for the to get the yearly upgrades. It's not terribly expensive. It's still actually a lot cheaper than Photoshop. It's just the pricing points are a little bit confusing now, but it's still far cheaper than Photoshop.
Well, I use Photoshop 5.
Right. Yeah, I remember you.
I use Photoshop 5.
Yeah.
Gordon's going to visit us again.
Over.
I use Photoshop 5 for a reason, and the reason is I have it downloaded because I bought it, and I'm not paying monthly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's probably talked me out of Clip Studio.
The one thing with Clip Studio, at least there is, well, let's say it's monthly. I think it's like $10 for the year to have the what they call the update key. I think they call it. It's really cheap.
Yeah.
So at least in that respect, but you can still get like what I'm using right now. You can pay, I think, $40 and you've got this. It's right here. But
and you permanently downloaded it.
And it's and you own it. So even if there is other changes, other updates, this that you still have.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe that's what. Maybe you've talked me back into it then.
So
all right, I'm going to put on a little.
Something I'll have to sit and kind of maybe go over all the details a little bit more. I think it's still worth it. I got a little pattern music in the background for you, a little piano accompaniment. Oh, there we go.
Oh, Ralph the dog.
I can do let me show you that. I just sneezed. Give me 1 second here. But if you look at this really quick,
hold on.
if I can show you this really momentarily. But if you look on the right side here, I open up this panel and it's got all these different panels for your page setup, and you can play with these. So let's say I take one and I drag it in, it drops it in place. All these panels I can adjust the size, but even if you look down here, it's already matted every single panel, so that if I choose one, I choose this one, it blocks it out. I'm going to put in a drawing sheet underneath that one. So I'll get my pencil. So this right here, I can, it's got white selected. So if I have black, so I can, draw a character in here, and it goes right off. So it's matted right in this frame. And so every one of, and you can work with each frame individually. You can add as many layers as you need to each one. If I come in here, where is it? Here's your text bubbles you can lay in. You can add in your tails, and all of these can be, all of these, you can change the thickness of the line. You can have that line bend and curve. You can have thought bubbles come in, right? You can change the direction of that if you need to. It's really customizable all the way through it. I've really put this thing to the test to see if there's anything that I couldn't do, and so far I feel like I can do everything. I've looked at all the different comics.
You can do open-ended panels.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So that if you want it to like fill the entire, because what you can even do besides, let me just keep going back here. Over here on the right, if you wanted to do a drawing and import the drawing in, your sketch drawing, there's an option here where I can make the individual frames myself.
No, does it always have to be framed?
No, not necessarily.
Cool.
Like if you want to just make like an open page like this.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
so one of the things. Here, I'll show you. This is one of the pages that I've done for the piece I'm currently working on.
Oh, right.
And so this is a large open panel with 3 smaller panels sitting on top. Right? Now I put the border on it after the fact, but ideally I would just draw this as an open image and then set panels to it. I bet you probably can.
That's kind of what I'm doing here. So you have like what I've got right here. This is so I have an open page here, and I can put in a full scan in or draw in a full. Oh, I'm in that thing. That's why. Yeah, you could do, okay, whatever. So I can have this colored in, do whatever I need to, and then and if you need to, I can add in your frame afterwards. I can either use this. That's going to cover it. I'll have to kind of figure that out a little bit.
Okay, I get it.
I can just make a square around it afterwards as well. But yeah, you can do. Yeah, you have the freedom to do whatever you need to in it, right? You can stroke a line if you need to. They just call some things a little bit different. Like this is outline selection. So
I see.
Same idea. Yeah, you can do that. So
Paul says one thing that goofs him up is the undo button for Procreate and Clip Studio. And they are in totally different spots. He finds himself going to the wrong spot for it sometime. Oh. I suppose that any different programs can have different layouts of things. Oh, and then he says, Christopher, based on what I've seen, Paul says, based on what he's seen me working on recently, he thinks a Clip Studio would save me considerable time.
Yeah, I think it could.
I like that.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit of a curve because it'll change your workflow a bit. But yeah, I think it could. I think it definitely could.
My workflow's all over the place.
For Procreate and Clip Studio. Well, Procreate. When I open my iPad and use Procreate, I just use a double tap on it. I just tap 2 fingers on the screen.
Is that on a tablet or on?
Yeah, it's on the Procreate on the iPad.
Oh, okay.
So it's all finger gestures to control everything on that. That's a whole different kind of ball of wax.
All right, it's Halloween. What am I drawing?
But
what would you like me to draw for Halloween?
Oh God, you're starting something scratch. I thought you were working on your comment, but I don't know what have you been feeling like drawing anything today, like a Frankenstein monster or something, or
it's your show.
Oh God, yeah, but I mean, you're the guest with your song. How would you? All right, let's see some. If you're throwing at me, what about
pizza?
I got 2 things in mind. I should ask Paul, maybe Paul to both on my iPad. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Clip Studio you get on your iPad, that costs extra money. How about I was gonna say bats. Do you know how to draw bats? Oh, Paul says a pirate girl. Draw a pirate girl.
A pirate girl. All right. Okay. Pirate girl it is.
Yeah, Paul, I was looking to get Clip Studio for the iPad, but they charge monthly for the iPad use. I don't know why the desktop was completely like a one payment deal, and then to get it on the iPad, you actually have to pay monthly for it, and that I kind of turned me off of it. And I was like, no, I don't. I probably barely use it on the iPad anyways, but I rather have it Clip Studio's got so many elements to it. I'd rather have it open on a tablet, anyways.
Well, I've opened a download. I've opened up a program here. To download it, and it's showing me some of the stuff it's got, and it looks, if I dare say, funky cold Medina. That was dramatic, eh? It looks very funky. It looks very cool. So something to consider for sure. All right. Well, Pirate Girl it is.
All right.
So I have got a dipping pen. While you're doing your digital stuff, I've got a dipping.
Okay. You've got the traditional.
Yeah, the old school nib and lavender ink, which is going to be exciting.
Oh, nice. Sounds nice.
It's a neat color, but so let's do Pirate Girl here. I could have given her a one eye, I suppose, but it's the challenge of whenever you're doing stuff is that, like, my memory is highly referential. I don't know about you guys, but so I find that when I'm doing something, I'm trying not to relate, like, my work, whatever it is, the image that I'm creating, to another creator. I'm trying not to like emulate any of their characters or their stories or their plots, you know. And that's it's tricky, because as soon as you think Pirate Girl, I start thinking of guys like, there's an artist named Steve Mannion who does some crazy stuff, and this is a really fine nib that I'm using, and so I find that it gives me a lot of control over my line.
I tried years ago to do that kind of inking with nibs, and it never fully clicked with me. I don't know why. I kept making a mess, and I didn't have the control with it. I was kind of wished I could, but never.
Well, with anything,
control over it.
With anything, it tends to take a little bit of time to get the gist of it. My daughter off at college sent me a picture. She dressed as a pirate girl for Halloween. Oh my! My oldest showed up to pick up the grandkids dressed as Britney Spears. So.
Oh really?
And as soon as I saw her, tragically, we looked at each other and went, "Hey, hey, 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 hey!" But I said it sternly, and she said it coolly. So. But yeah. Two of the kids went out. Two of the kids went out to Halloween parties, but
okay. I was talking to my roommate a bit about that, because it's actually raining here tonight.
It's raining in London too.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought London was maybe a little bit clearer, but I didn't know I remember years and years ago, like if it was raining on Halloween, they would actually try and have it do trick or treating. Like they'll try and do it the following night, kind of thing. And I don't think I don't know if they still do that nowadays or not, but I don't know if I can do the box.
Trying to think of a pirate hat. What the hell's a pirate hat like?
But I don't know if they actually still have Halloween parties for kids these days anymore. I know they used to, but
certain places do, right? Community centers, things like that, and they're starting to resist a lot of that stuff because the COVID panic is dying down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a couple of years, 1 year there, my wife was remarking on this tonight, is that we weren't allowed to give any of the kids candy. We just had to leave it outside for them to take themselves.
Oh, okay.
The whole point is to see the cute kids in their costumes.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm not one for beefcake art. So I'm doing my best here with trying to make a sassy pirate gal. Did you put, what is that, a star field? Is that what you got up there?
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I've been working a little bit on my characterizations for my comic, and I'm kind of just starting off the opening page with it. So I thought I'm gonna fiddle around with it tonight and see what I can do with it.
I have not drawn with this sucker in a while. I'm looking forward to seeing this comic of yours. You've had some.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping it.
Well, it's again, it's that thing I was referring to earlier. It's that you've been in the process of trying to rebuild your sense of your state around you, your sense of self, or your equilibrium, and it's not easy to do. And by all means, that can take some time. Now, I'm trying to think about some of the kit and caboodle that pirates have on them, right? Like feathers in their hats and.
Yeah, I remember years ago doing a character they wanted me to do for someone's birthday party, and they wanted me to draw him as a pirate. And I really had to actually open up like Google and look up pirates and get some ideas of different costumes for just how I was going to draw them.
I've really been pushing myself lately to draw on what I remember in my head for anything, for scenes and images and settings, and I'm trying not to rely on any source as much as I can right now.
Oh, is that right? Ooh.
Yeah, well, let me tell you about this Bounty idea of mine, because it's
yeah. And hello to Spider Master. So I'd say hi since she said hello.
The Spider Master, great name.
Yeah, I know, eh?
Is a person a master of spiders? Lavender.
Yeah, you, Paul. I couldn't either.
What's that? Oh, no.
Paul says I couldn't draw a pirate without looking at reference. I'm like, yeah, I'm with.
So, not to say that I'm not looking at any, but like I found a picture of a Ford Cortina, and it's from one angle, and I'm having to make up all of the different shots of the Ford Cortina,
right?
From just trying to imagine the rest of the structure. So if a car enthusiast looks at this and goes, "That's not exactly how a Ford Cortina's,"
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, you're probably right, because it's just trying to challenge and push myself a little. you get comfortable a little too much sometimes. At least I know that I feel like I could do is get a little too comfortable in relying on, good enough, eh? But instead of having to make myself be practical in how I'm approaching an image and
Right.
really trying to understand what makes a car and what makes a hand, All right, so just trying to, so the more I think about this, the Clip Studio, the more I'm interested in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you ever got any questions at all, like I said, it's such an awkward time for it right now because they've gone and changed their pricing point system. But you can still at least get the initial basic program, and that's not.
Well, that's all I want. I don't care for the rest of it. I'm usually a guy that just says, let's go with the raw thing and make and then push the tool to do the things that we needed to do. And I'm pleased with some of the results I'm getting out of whatever it is that I'm doing. But there's a realization for me is that, like I was going to look into doing some partially inspired by Mr. Paul Pade, and partially just because I really should be figuring out some things a little bit further. I was going to start trying to imagine some more of how I could do some animatics in what I'm posting and what I'm doing. So,
Yeah, that's something I'd actually like to look into a little bit.
Okay, so Pirate has.
Oh, I almost forgot. Clip Studio Paint does have a trial period, so you can actually download it and try it out. I want to say 3 months. That might be a bit long, but I know they do have a trial period. You can try it out for a little bit, so you don't have to just jump in and purchase it right away.
Well, then I'll do that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was just like thought of that. And I thought, oh, you're telling before I forget.
I'm just thinking up about what this jacket, how this jacket works. Excuse me. Happy. Okay. Yeah, the secret of how I draw. Make it up as I go along.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me a funny question the other day. I got an email and where do you go through for your images? And I went, oh, you don't want to go to that place. Woo, that's a dark hallway. Hello. Yeah, it was a fun, nice that this person's interested, but at the same time, it's like, crazy imagination. That's where. Okay, so I've got this figured out here. I'm gonna do. So there's the shoulder. Tricky because this is such a fine point on this pen, this nib that I'm using, that very easily it catches, spatters a little bit,
Oh, does it? Yeah. You see, that's the kind of issues I run into with those, but I make a huge mess, so.
Oh, the dragging sound of the pen nib. Whew. I'll keep you up. Sounds so aggressive when you're drawing with this. Scritchy, scratchy. So here comes the torn shirt. The obligatory cleavage. That's looking really cool.
It's a little bit of an establishing shot that's supposed to show something kind of in the distance on the first opening page to kind of get you intrigued as to what's going on. And then, which is coincidentally, the opening shot is they're being shot on by a spaceship that has something that looks like a pirate ship.
There you go.
It's a little bit of a blur. I was hoping to maybe come to London in a few weeks. If
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm not 100% sure. Whoops, that's a bit big. Not 100% sure yet if it's all going to come together, but I would certainly like to try and make it.
Come on, boy! Come on, boy! Have a cup of tea. Meet the missus.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I'll definitely look you up, and I'll let you know before I leave. And that's not quite right either. Yeah, because I've got a lot of friends in London still that I haven't seen in ages. Some I haven't seen since before COVID started. So I'd like to really get out there and spend a few days, visit a few people.
Sure.
You know, but I'll see if it comes together next month.
So I think about when I'm drawing, I try to think about where I can go in after with color. I know it doesn't really apply to this, but because it's just a pen nib drawing, but you know.
Mm.
I think I hear your roommate.
Oh, can you actually hear that? He's got his TV on in his room, but it's really low. Like even I can barely hear it.
Yeah, but I got dad and grandpa ears.
Oh.
Paul says he didn't like Clip Studio at first. It took him a little time to learn, but it pays off now. Nice.
Yeah. I always do my main drawings in Clip Studio, and the only thing I come back to Photoshop for is maybe some little things that I can't quite do in Clip Studio. Like if I have to do some big block letters and I want to do some, I can have a little more control on lettering. Like as far as large block lettering, I have more control over it in Photoshop. Christopher, would you use it on a computer? Paul asks.
Which? Clip Studio? I don't own any Apple products at all. I don't have an iPad or anything like that. So I'd have to, I'm a PC guy. Just because, you know, I do everything like it's 1,000 years ago. I know there's a part of me that gets a little bit jealous when I see the people that are like, so I just picked up my setup and I went to the market and did some drawing there on my tablet. I'm like,
Okay, remember not to say that.
What's that?
Okay, so I remember not to say that around you.
No. It's just that everybody has something somebody else does, and they're like, man, I wouldn't do that. But honestly, I'm sketching all the time. I've always got a sketchbook on me wherever I am and whatever I'm doing, and a lot of it has to do with, it's just that traditional way of working. I'm very comfortable in, and so it helps me through my thought processes, and whereas other people will work out like that, I'll tend to do a lot of the idea generation, a lot of the story plotting and scripting and things like that for different projects that I'm on. So, it's all relative.
Mm-hmm. I really should, like myself, really should get back into, I do want to get back into doing some traditional work, working with traditional medium again. I've got a bunch of stuff here. I just kind of got away from it over time, but got a little too comfortable, I think, with doing digital and being able to correct things a little too easily.
Well, I finally got a pen setting for drawing digitally that I like. I finally found a setting that and coincidentally it came from Scott Serkland.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, in his newsletter, he gives you hey, here's all the stuff you need on how to make a comic book.
Right.
And so there's a bunch of brush settings in that. And one of them happened to be the one I needed, the one I was looking for. And so, now I feel comfortable in drawing digitally. And the way I have my setup in my space here is I've got it set up so that as soon as I finish a drawing like this, I can immediately scan it and dump it into my computer and proceed to do whatever afterwards. Right?
Right.
So,
Yep, that's what I.
Okay. So, thinking about the structure of a gun, an old revolver gun, got cracking mechanism, barrel handle. Yeah, I think I got the gun there. This is really, it's a little rough.
Paul said, Christopher, I can't believe you just drew that from your imagination. That hat is great.
Oh, I'm glad because I was not happy with the hat. I looked at it and went, that looks a little tiny. Shouldn't it be a giant brimmed hat? And I've been second guessing myself for half of the drawing about that hat. That's pretty nice of you.
This is outer space is looking good too, Phil.
That is looking cool.
Okay,
and then you've got a dialogue box down there. Is that what that is?
It's more of a, what do they call it in comics, where it's not the dialogue, but it's
narration.
The narration, I guess. Yeah.
I know what you're gonna write in there. On a dark desert highway. No, I might be thinking of something else.
No, I don't. I'd be careful with that, but yeah, maybe a little bit different. But yeah, I have to. I actually add text into that.
Well, I hope this is what Paul meant by Lady Pirate.
Are you fussy on the kind of paper you got to use for that kind of ink, or?
This is just a piece of comic board. No, I'm no. There's no part of me that's really fussy about too much when it comes to the drawing medium.
Oops.
I tend to be pretty free and easy about all that.
Well,
maybe a little too much. So.
Kind of paper. Just.
What's that? I'm sorry.
They actually sent me a reply. Sorry, what were they saying a minute ago? Somebody just texted me a message, and I went to look really quick, and it just distracted me. Sorry.
No worries.
Some people. I know some people are very fussy on the kinds of paper when it comes to inks or paints or whatnot. They're really specific on types of paper and brands, and so.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that, and with a lot of people like that. I really do. And this is gonna sound, hey, Chris Runsman's a bad guy. You like that? I like to look at the camera like that and drop a line. I'm a jerk. I'm a jerk as much as the next guy's a jerk, and I'm sorry, but there's a lot of cases where I'll meet these people that'll say, "Well, I only use this material, and I only work with these medium." And this person's told me that if everything has to be of archival quality, and so I don't believe in working in anything. And usually these are people that have a little more accommodation than the average Joe. A, and B, a lot of the people I hear talk like that, I tend not to be impressed with what they're doing. And this is the jerky part. Told you it was coming. I tend to, when I hear a lot of this flabberjabbing about, well, I think that you need to work on this material and work in this way, and everything has to be this quality, and I tend to find a lot of those people are talking out their arse. You know, sure, we all try to have stuff that'll last, but hey, there's a point in everything. You know what I mean?
I kind of, yeah, what's the word? I'll listen to what somebody says, but in the end, I kind of just, it's like appreciate the the suggestions, but in the end, I got to do it. Got to do it my way. I got to do it the way whatever's a within my budget and b what I'm comfortable with and what I feel works for what I need to do. So. Um, I have a bunch of Copics and I don't know, I was using it on a type of bond paper, which I find bleeds a little bit. And people tell me you're not supposed to use that paper. And it's like, I know I can't afford the good Copic paper. It's like ridiculously expensive. So I'm trying to make this work.
What about just generic cardstock?
Or yeah, even cardstock. Some of the cardstock it holds it a little bit better actually.
Yeah,
What's what's this stuff called? It's not Bristol board, but it's definitely a heavier. It is like a cardstock. It's a little heavier, but it's not quite Bristol board. My roommate says he likes to use it for comics. Has been using it for years and years. But it's a heavy grade paper, and I find it actually works really good. I use this. You can get a little bit of bleed to it, or maybe a little bit of buckling, tiny bit, depending on how much you're putting down. But for liquids, I find it actually works really well.
You can go to Staples, Office Depot, whatever you find it called nearby you, but you can go to these places and buy blocks of cardstock for $15. They'll give you 50 pieces of whatever color cardstock you feel in the moment.
Oh, okay.
And they're just look for the heavier grade.
I have gotten but it's 8x10 though, isn't it?
Sure, why not? 8.5 by 11, but it's a start. And
I used to use that for caricatures. When I used to go do caricatures, there was cardstock and there was something else called cover stock.
Okay.
And cover stock, it wasn't quite as heavy as cardstock. But it still had a good stiffness to it, and you got more in the pack. You sort of got a little more in the pack for your money, and it worked really well. I think it was cover stock.
Okay. I mean, that's the thing with anything that we do. We want to find something that works for us. One of the things I like doing is figuring out what I can do with whatever I find, and be that all right, palm tree. What does a palm tree look like? Whatever we can find, if we can, make that go for us and do the things that we're trying to make it do, then we're halfway winning there. So I'll use whatever materials I find, whatever quality.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy Fudensuke brushes or pen brushes, whatever you want to call them, for inking right now, as opposed to using a brush and a quill and so on and so forth. I like the Fudensuke. It's these guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can't see it
so it keeps those around. Yeah, I don't know if you had a chance to see Frank's Francisco Salazar's. He had a thing today where he basically was telling all the kids to be safe out there.
Oh yeah, I did watch it. Yes.
I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I was hoping he might be around tonight, but I guess
I think he's out patrolling the streets.
Oh, he might be. Yeah.
I've actually known a couple people that dress up as superheroes and patrol their cities that they live in.
So, is that right?
Yeah,
people do that. I've seen that before.
Really interesting idea. I have an alter ego superhero that I keep putting into different comics and bits that I work on. A lot of the one pages have it in it. I have an alter ego of myself as a. Paul says he's rewatching Making Comics 101 as a refresher. That's right. There you go. My superhero persona is me in a rather filthy bunny costume.
Oh,
and which is almost misimpossible for this to actually happen because I'm 6'6". I'm not going to find a bunny costume that fits.
Yeah, that's might be a little bit tricky.
But it's that's my funny little superhero version of myself, is me in a bunny costume with a baseball bat.
Paul said the Eagle. Sorry, Paul, what were you referring to?
Oh, because I made an Eagles reference earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a really dumb superhero version of myself. Let's see if I can.
Oh, I got a super squeaky chair. Jeez. Let's get a new chair.
Blue thumb. Gotta be a cleaner way to do that. This is my saucy new toothbrush for doing ink with. You like that? It's a denture toothbrush.
You got a new toothbrush?
It's this is what I've got for flicking ink. So I really like to press.
Oh, okay. I see what you. Yeah.
This is a denture toothbrush. If you lose your teeth, you have to use these to clean your dentures.
Let's see.
It's just kind of like a giveaway that I wear dentures, but you know.
Paul says when I was picky about media, it was usually just about making excuses.
That's an interesting valuation of that, Paul. It really is, and that's a great deal of honesty too. I think we've all been there. I think that there's a great deal of things that creative types will do to procrastinate, isn't there?
That is true.
Well, I don't have any of these in stock right now at the moment, so I'm gonna have to go pick some of those up. But then I'll be right on that. It's like, just get to it, man.
When I was in my late teens, still living at home, I had this horrible experience at the dentist, getting a basic filling, and they went to do the freezing, and it kind of shot through the bottom side of my jaw, and it freaked me out, and I actually screamed, I think. And ever since then, I've been terrified about going back. And then eventually, once I was like, once I was 18, and then I went to college when I was 19, and I was no longer under my dad's coverage. And I was always been scared about my teeth, but my mother was very insistent on teaching me to brush and to floss, like at the very least once a day, twice if you can. And I became so paranoid that I always, like, even though I don't eat the best stuff, I'm always constantly looking after my teeth. So finally, after 30 years, I broke down and went to a dentist and thought, I'm going to have to flip the bill for
30
this.
years.
30 years before I went back to a dentist, and they were really surprised. My teeth are actually in like really good condition because I've taken like so good care of them over the years. The only thing was they had to replace some of the fillings. The fillings were causing my teeth to crack because they were 30 years old. So they were 30 to 35-year-old fillings. They had to replace some, not all of them. Some of them were still good. Some they had to replace. And I've got one broken tooth in the back, and I only had like one cavity. One front cavity that need to be filled. This is otherwise. This is for your age and considering you haven't been to a dentist in that long, your teeth are like in surprisingly excellent shape. So I'm like,
good for you, man.
I'll take it. Yeah, because I really am terrified of the dentist. Like I'm scared of having to get to something like a root canal or something like that done. I'm absolutely petrified. So
my last time to a dentist, he took out 15 teeth at once.
Oh, wow. Were you awake for all of that? Or did you?
No.
Oh, good. Because I couldn't.
Oh, yeah. I was totally awake. I didn't even have any freezing. I'm like, take them all. Why don't you take 16?
Yeah.
While you're at it, go ahead and just stab me with a knife because I'm a macho fella. No, I have because of this nervous system disorder that I have. When I would have seizures, I clamp down on my teeth, and when I clamp down on my teeth, I would compress them and I would crack them, and I started to look like Jaws from Moonraker.
Yeah,
it was a rather uncomfortable setup. So I elected to go in and get them out. And I have full upper and lower plates. Was it fun?
No, I'll bet not. Jesus.
You ever find somebody who's like, yeah, it was no problem. It was the easiest thing I've ever done. Just hit them for me. That's nobody should enjoy that. Like that. My granddaughter comes in and plays with stuff in the studio, and then I have to try to figure out, how does she jam all the markers in that thing?
If you're making a comic, I guess if you're doing page by page, is there? I mean, my roommate will tell me just to export them as a JPEG, but should they be JPEGs or should they be something better or something else other than a JPEG?
I save my comics as PDF files.
PDF?
And JPEGs. And the reason that I do that is, and there's probably going to be informed that there's a smarter way to do this, but because I am a fair amount of a Luddite, I don't trust the robots. And so I save it as both a PDF, because then it has all of the open files that are uncompressed, right?
Okay.
And then I save it as a JPEG, so that when I'm looking at the file folders, I can just go, oh, there it is there. Because I then I don't have to read all the titles about what the hell's this picture. And PDF gives me a little picture. So
right now, I'm just going to save it as like a Clip Studio format for each page, but yeah, at least that way, then I can always go back in and then export them however I need them. But if I am going to send it to print, I don't know what, I just have to find out what format they prefer to. They prefer when you, I guess, because when you're uploading it, you've got to upload it to their site.
Oh, is that how it works?
But I know that's how like my roommate does it when he does his. Well, Paul says his messages are taking like 5 minutes to show up. Is it that far behind?
Oh my gosh!
I wouldn't be surprised. It's, geez, Paul, I'm sorry, man. That's Let me just open this for a minute and turn it down. I'm going to open this up on my phone and see what the what do you call it? The delay or the Squatchy Comics is live. I haven't watched it in a while.
What's that?
Oh, somebody named Squatchy Comics.
It's here.
He's live. No, I just opened up. I was going to open up YouTube just on my phone, and I just noticed he's. Seemed like nobody's been going live lately. There was a while there where it seems like everybody was going up online and opening up the computer and going live for a while, and now it seems to have died down. I'm not seeing anybody to lately. Paul says he's turning in. He says, in fact, I'm off to sleep. Nice hanging
out, Canadians.
Right. Good night, Paul. If you get this, Paul, you take care, and we'll definitely chat soon. Love to have you back in here again sometime again.
There's your pirate lady, Paul.
Oh, there she is.
Should have had her smoking a cigar. You always see that where films or teleplays have people wearing like a female pirate or whatever it is, and they always have them doing some very clearly masculine thing.
Yeah.
Ladies don't smoke cigars, but pirate ladies do.
I'm gonna just do a test in here. Let's see how much it shows up on here. Oh, I'm getting an immediate response, so whatever it is, for some reason, he's getting a delay.
It might work for you, but it might be a delay on other people that are trying to.
Yeah. Yeah, my roommate's been doing comics for years and years, but he's been doing them. He goes through, what do you like, Lulu or some sort of printing company like that, and he used to use Lulu for years until I guess they changed the format or something. He doesn't use them anymore. But he just, I guess it's kind of like print on demand sort of thing. So he just uploads it, and then he'll print off a bunch of copies for himself to sell at conventions, and then.
What's your roommate's name?
Jim Felker.
I don't know if I'm familiar with.
Yeah, he's more he's involved in writing. Have you heard of Ben Dunn? Most people have heard of Ben Dunn.
No.
No, okay. He the big one they do is Ninja High School and Ninjas versus Aliens.
Okay.
Are you familiar with? Okay.
Yeah, well,
Jim
writes. I'm familiar with that from managing a comic store.
Oh, okay. All right. He Ben does the artwork for that, and Jim co-wrote some of those. He actually even co-wrote the it's a Netflix series now. Warrior Nun.
This is your roommate.
So yeah. No, he doesn't get any money for that because he wrote episodes. It's been years and years ago that he wrote for it when it started. It's long since kind of changed and gone through different people, and the series doesn't really. It continues off of the comics, but it's not based directly on any of the direct stories in the comics.
So he doesn't get paid because of that?
Yeah.
Is he not? Is he a creator
His
of the
name's no
comic?
longer kind of on it or involved in it, so he can explain the whole thing better than I can. But yeah, he did a little bit of the writing with him, I think, for that. I think he did. I have to double check with him. He also does his own, draws his own comics.
But is it very manga influenced then?
Yes. Oh, yeah, very much so. His stuff is not. Oh boy, how do I describe it? There's something called Changes, and it's a little more risque. It involves lesbian relationships.
Okay.
His, but his artwork is not. I don't know how to put it.
It's manga-esque.
It is. It is very, 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 very simplified.
Well, it's a type, right? It's a type of work that hits a very specific beat. And unfortunately, a couple of my friends that got involved in a few projects with a few publishers, what they found was that when they tried to input something additional to the expectation of the manga format, it was shunned. They were bounced out.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because they know for a fact that that specific audience wants that specific material. So there is absolutely 0 point in trying to suggest that, well, what if we try that with this sort of an inking style, or why don't we try that with this sort of an approach? And the answer was, yeah, I think we're going to go a different way. And one of them got bounced off of a job specifically because he, they didn't like his want to make it, to do some more European style inputs into it, and he really wasn't. He was really coming at it from a, where somebody draws. Here, let me try something. I'll show you. So when like John J. Muth, okay, did Peace and Sandman. John J. Muth, if you haven't seen his work, I highly recommend you do. So
Okay.
he has. Yeah, of course, I got the crappiest brush on the planet to do this with. All right. Well, anyways, he does this highly just, simplified brushwork of the cat, as it sits. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And so it's this very Japanese, very simple stroke approach of things.
Okay.
And so this guy really wanting to emulate that. And they said, no, you're done.
Really?
That was considered to be too. They want specifically that anime drawing style and nothing but. So.
Wow.
Well, good for him for getting out of there. Because how creatively limiting would that be? I'm all about trying all kinds of different tools.
Yeah, I got one of the things I want to do. I've I've had sitting there for the longest time, and they're still good, even though I've had them for years and years, but is these oil pastels.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to experiment a bit with them and see what other mediums could possibly work. But yeah, I started watching somebody online who did these beautiful oil pastel images, and how he'd take the pastels and he just put down like areas, like he just kind of scribble back and forth to get it down onto the paper, and he would block in some oranges and blues at the top, and then some dark blues across the bottom, a little bit through here, and it's just like this quick little scribbly kind of things. And then he'd come in with a bit of tissue paper on the end of his finger, and he'd start smudging it and pushing it around, and then he'd add in a little more color, and then he'd blend that in, and just like in less than 20 minutes, this beautiful sunset scene with the ship on the water. And I was just blown away. I thought, that's amazing. I got to try that. We got this big set of, or say big, but I got a little set of some oil pastels, and I thought, I got to learn how to do that. That is beautiful.
Have you tried them out yet, or you just
no, I haven't been able to yet. I had forgotten I had them. My folks bought it for me years and years ago, and I had forgotten I had them. I thought in the process of moving that they had been lost, and then a couple of years ago, I opened a box and discovered that I still had them, and they're still good. I guess they can keep for a long time.
They can, yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I gotta, my folks bought this for me years ago to use. I never said anything. I thought they'd been lost, and now it's like I feel like I need to do something with them.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. Once I get the last of this set up, I'll be able to set up on the table behind me, and the table back there behind me is going to be kind of more my for using more traditional mediums, for using doing whatever with paints or markers or whatever. I can all do that all back there.
Good.
So let's get that set up. It's funny, this desk that I got back here behind me over my left shoulder.
Yeah.
It sets up like a drafting table kind of thing, but I usually just leave it flat. But my dad bought that for me when I was 18 or 19. I think he bought it for my birthday. And I've kept it all these years. Everywhere I've moved, everywhere I've gone, it's gone with me.
Is that right, eh?
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. It's pretty basic. It's the corner's gotten a little dinged and a few scratches here and there, but there's nothing wrong with it. I remember my dad saying like, "Oh, I thought you would have gotten a new one by now." I'm like, "Why? There's nothing wrong with this one. It works fine."
Yeah.
So I keep that.
I tend to have a couple things that I've kept with me, really silly little bits and bobs. Like I have a light tracing table that is 29 years old.
Is that right, eh?
It's a cheap $25 thing that I bought 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's a couple years younger than my oldest.
Yeah. I remember for years I had a light box that I kept that I used for when I was in animation, and I think I sold it. I think I sold it to somebody. I wish I hadn't, but.
Well, if you would like this one, you can have it. It still works fine.
Oh no, that's all right. I do have one. Now down here. It's a little tiny bit small. It's like it can just kind of hold 8.5 by 11 sheets, but it works.
This is mine now.
Oh, nice. I've been looking into something like that, but yeah, nice.
They had them for sale at a local art supply store, Hold Graphics, for $100. So I splurged.
For how much again?
$100.
For $100? Okay, yeah. I was looking at those on
Oh, I like that.
Amazon just not long ago. Actually, I wasn't sure. Eventually, I will break down and maybe get one of those, just because the one I've got is this one here. I'll show you. It's right there. A friend of mine bought me this years ago, and he kind of got mad at me about something. He didn't talk to me anymore. That's what it did. These things.
That's exactly the other unit. That's exactly the unit that I've had for 29 years.
Oh, is that right, eh?
That's exactly the same thing.
They still make these. Light Tracer, it's called. It's just this lip kind of drives me a little bit crazy when I try and...
29 years.
I've is that right, eh?
Yeah.
No, I've only had this for 15. But yeah, and this is the smaller one. I know they have two different sizes. There's a larger one you can get now.
Oh, that's the same size as the one I have. It's the same style. It might even be the same model. Light Tracer sticker on it.
Light Tracer by Autograph.
Yeah, the exact same. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I just remember that I was looking at them online at some point and just noticed that, they got two different sizes, because that one just is a little bit small, and I wish it was a bit bigger, and they do sell larger ones. I thought, okay, well, I know they larger ones, but... But I kind of like the one that you held up. I started looking at those, and I thought, if I get a light box again, I'm going to get one of those nice flat ones.
Yeah, it took me years and years and years to do it, but I finally did. All right, that goes in the doodle pile. What time we at here? 12 o'clock. Well, it's 12 o'clock, and it's about midnight where, well,
is it?
I like to switch it up a little bit here.
12 o'clock.
Ralph? Where are you, buddy?
Ralph the dog?
Yeah. Ralph, how you doing there, pal? Oh, I'm pretty good. Let's get a little piano pattern going.
A little entertainment here with the...
Let's break out this bad microphone and...
Oh, there you go.
Boo, boo. Hey, all right. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're going to have a good time. There you go. There's the variety portion of your show.
There we go. Take it away. I don't care.
So I did this little trailer recently where I had the microphone there, and I had Ralph the dog playing the piano in the camera, and
I think
this camera is set up so that whenever there's a guest in the studio, the camera is set up towards them, and I'll put the big studio light on them there.
Right.
And I got so many Muppets props, it's not funny.
Oh, there.
Like if you look up on the shelf over here, right here.
Okay.
There's
I'm gonna blow this up a bit.
There's a couple of things up there, like there's the Bluto from the Labyrinth, and then there's Vader and Luke and the Iron Giant, and Vincent and Bob from Black Hole, and Moffat from Battlestar Galactica, and it's almost a random assortment of toys. But if you look behind me in this back little corner right here, I have Statler and Waldorf in the balcony.
Oh, okay.
I can't see very
good here, but okay.
And I've got the Doctor is In sign up there, 5 cents.
Right.
Beside my remote control R2D2. That's a very special award.
I think you told me about the R2D2. Yeah.
This came in the mail for me one day. You light it up and you can see it down the street for miles. And then the sign just warning people this is a seedy part of town.
Yeah.
And then here's a wholesome breakfast promotion. But up here in the corner, on top of Statler and Waldorf, I have what I personally think is the coolest action figure ever. It's Sweetums from the Muppets.
Oh, nice. Do you know I always wanted to make a costume of that, but
that'd be a great idea, man. You should do it.
It's the fabric for that and to make that is so it would cost like hundreds and hundreds of dollars to make that properly.
No. Just get a bunch of old ratty blankets.
Yeah, but I need all the hair.
But for the headpiece, that would cost you a couple of bucks, man.
Yeah.
Sweetums is massive, though. This is a big action figure because if you see him beside Rolf, this is it's literally right beside the Rolf the dog. He's full size. He's to scale with the other Muppets. And
right.
So that on the TV show,
Sweetums was a big costume too.
Sweetums is 7 feet, right?
Right.
So you'd have a ballerina on or some sort of guest host, and they'd want to do a little like Julie Andrews or whatever, and they want to do a dance number. And you'd have Sweetums come out.
Right. Yeah.
And, I just love the idea of a big burly guy wearing that costume trying to dance with Julie Andrews. It just cracks me up. My favorite Muppets thing of all time is Gonzo and a few of the guys. I think Floyd's in there. And it's George Burns. It's the George Burns bit on the Muppet Show where
is that right?
He does that line, he does that song, "You made me love you. I didn't want to do it." And then he points at the Muppets and they go, "I didn't want to do it." He harmonizes them up. He goes, "Okay. All right. Follow me, kids. Here we go." And he does the little bit. And then they do the little bit back. It's possibly some of the coolest interaction between a live action performer and a whole bunch of Muppets on stage. Right. But the fact that all of the puppeteers are, and I think Ralph's playing the piano and Gonzo's delayed from everybody else. So he goes, "You made me love you. I didn't want to do it." And he points at him. And the Muppets go, "I didn't want to do it." And then you hear Gonzo go, "Do it." Just a little bit behind everybody else on purpose because he's mouthing it to it. He goes, "Stay with me, kid." Like he tries to draw Gonzo into the group. It's so good. But I love stuff like that. I really do.
I remember that when Disney they just picked up the Muppets.
Oh no,
the Muppets
are over.
And like all the old classic ones. And my roommate Jim started sitting through them all, and I would come into some of them. I didn't watch all of them, but I would. I was coming into the watch different points in some of the episodes and that, because I used to watch all of them when I was young. I mean, God, I watched them over and over. So did my mother, actually. Sure. We both sat there and watched them over and over and over again for years and years.
Brilliant. It's a brilliant variety show.
And it really was. They were, it's a shame it came to an end when it did, but.
Well, it had to. He was ready to move into film.
Yes, I remember. Apparently, like he just decided to end it while it was on a high, I guess, and but yeah,
Well, they were developing a couple of larger projects, right? And eventually we have Labyrinth, we have Dark Crystal, we have. Right? Fraggles even, right? And still doing Sesame Street through all of that. His crew were, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's he was ready to move and then move into the Great Muppet Caper and go into film. So it was like, good for him. I don't blame Henson for doing what he did.
Sure.
There's a really great illustrator, Roger Landridge. If you have the opportunity, I do recommend you check him out.
Okay.
Roger Landridge is the guy that did Fred the Clown.
Sorry, did
Fred the Clown?
Oh, okay. All right.
That is a guy.
Familiar.
That is the guy that was handpicked by Jim Henson's son to be the guy who did the Muppets comic book.
Oh, okay.
Muppets. Yeah. It's brilliant. He gets it all. He gets everything. He manages to turn a show that's really dependent on the interaction of sound into a comic. Like he even has the whole Statler and Waldorf arguing with Fozzie in panels. It's just brilliant. You know, hey, bear, where's the frog? I love those guys.
You know, I remember one of my favorite sketches that I used to like, and apparently for years they couldn't show it. They lost rights to the song, so it was cut from the episode, and it's just been reinstalled. Like when I went to Disney, was when they had oh God, what's his name? Who did Gomer Pyle? I'm just drawing a blank on his name, but you know who I mean.
I know who you mean.
Yeah, but they did. He sang "Gone with the Wind," and as he's trying to sing this, the wind keeps picking up and it's blowing away parts of the set. And there's this other girl Muppet with him that he's trying to hold on to, and
he holds it close to his chest.
Yes, yeah.
The
wig comes off of her, and and at the end his pants get blown off, and I don't know why that absolutely cracked me up the first time I saw that when I was little, and I couldn't stop laughing.
And one of the funniest things they'd always do on the Muppet Show is that whenever one of the girls was, you know, blown off the stage or whatever it was, they always go, they'd always go flying up on that high note. Oh, it's the best. You know the bluegrass band of the Three Pickers? You know, way down in Borneo, way.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. Yeah.
That's Jim Henson, Frank Oz, and I can't remember who the third guy is. It might even be Carol. What's his name? Who did Big Bird for years and years and years?
Carol Spinney. Okay.
But that's Muppet versions of them, and they would jam together on set.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so those three guys, the three bluegrass guys, come out, and clearly one of them is Jim Henson.
One of them is, it's obvious
But it's the three of them back in their hippy dippy big hair, bearded state. So just getting a little granola into me, keep the blood sugar rocking. I love that. One of my favorite things about the Muppet Show with Statler and Waldorf is one of the greatest moments in writing has to be, well, what'd you think of that? Actually, it wasn't half bad. I thought it stank. Well, could have been better, you know. Well, what do you mean you liked it? And goes, well, now the more I'm thinking about it, I kind of hate it. And the other guy goes, well, I'm starting to love it. And literally reverse opinions. Within 30 seconds of arguing with each other, they completely reversed their take on. And then one guy's going, "That was encore," and the other guy's going, "Boo, boo."
I remember the one where they both changed their opinion on something where they hated it, and as they're talking about it, they ended up both liking it within like 2 minutes.
Nice. Yeah, no, the one
I remember that one.
Variations on that theme, right? And then there's you got 30 seconds, Frog, or we're leaving. And then 30 seconds, that's not a lot of time, fellas. And there's like 25. Oh yeah, those are the best.
One of the gags, and
what's that?
one of the gags that I still tell today, and I'm trying to think who the guest was. It was a female guest, and I want to say Sandy Duncan, I think. The whole
Yeah.
show was supposed to be Robin Hood.
Oh my God. And she was
And it was,
Tinkerbell?
and I
Or
think they held her
she was
captive in her she was supposedly she was kidnapped and held in her dressing
in the
room.
dressing room. Yeah,
And
I
they
think
had
that
these
is
two pig guards. And one of them would go, how's it go? Or how goes it? The night is dark and still. Still what? Still dark. Ah! I still tell that joke to this day, and
Brilliant.
people just give me weird looks. And I'm like, haven't you ever seen the Muppet Show? Come on.
Yeah. Oh no,
Night is
that's
dark
great.
and still.
I never appreciated enough some of the things like the what is it? Veterinarian hospital.
Yeah.
Continuing story of a quack who's gone to the dogs.
On to the dogs. Yeah.
And every character that's in veterinary hospital knows how bad the premise is, constantly points out, stupid one-liner, ironic dad joke nonsense, right?
Right.
It is so on point, like it's so well done that every episode of Veterinary Hospital is the treasure trove of bad jokes.
Right. Yeah, that is true.
It's like they took all the bad one-liners that came up while they're crafting the good material and just threw them into that envelope that's and then we'll just plumb from it whenever we're doing this episode this series. And I never fully appreciated pigs in space and how basic that is, but how genius a job it does at absolutely stripping apart the ridiculousness of Star Trek, and the ridiculousness of British science fiction. Absolutely on point for ripping apart things like Doctor Who. Loved it. Just loved it. And it did it all in such warm spirit and such a positive way.
Yeah. Because they never got, like, they never really got insulting about anything either. Like, they were always, they would, you knew what they were riffing on, but they also did it without,
well, they had this referential craft about how they were telling their stories. Like, one of my favorite things was, and I never got it as a kid, I didn't get it till I was an adult, and that's at
the dance.
The dance. And the dance was the best thing. It's like, I think I'm getting the hang of it. I think it was I'm thinking I'm really taking those dance lessons in hand. She goes, "Oh, I wish you took them in feet because you're killing mine." They move along, and somebody else comes up. Kirby, yes, Piggy. I've been wondering, and they do a little bit, and then another couple comes in. Never got it as a kid. I'm always like, this part's so ridiculous. But then as a kid, your humor is basic, and you tend to like things like the fish thrower. The guy that throws the fish, or
I can't think of his name, but I know who you mean. Yeah, I can see him, the sort of jester-looking guy.
The two bad guys, in my opinion, were always the guy that throws the fish and the guy that throws the bombs.
Those Crazy Harry.
Crazy Harry.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Mana.
Yes.
Right?
Oh God.
It's the stupidest bit. It really is. And because it's just a hip puppet dancing around like an idiot. Like it's clearly Henson having a ball, right?
Yes, yeah.
But I didn't get until I was an adult. He gets closer to the camera as he's singing, and recedes when he's not. And the girls move closer when they're singing and recede when they're not.
When they're not, yes. Never, I remember that. Yeah.
Never noticed that till an adult.
Oh.
Must have watched Mana 15 times, and then went, oh my God. And I just noticed that beautiful timing. So it's tricky. It's tricky. The little nuances that are in bits that we don't realize somebody's doing. Like the best joke Monty Python, right? My favorite joke that Terry Gilliam ever did with Monty Python, aside from the clouds with feet that would jump up and down in the air. Hup, and the whole landscape would be doing it.
Yeah.
And then the sun comes out and gives them hell and tells them to get out of there.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I got that one. Yeah.
And the joke in the middle of Quest for the Holy Grail.
Yes.
Where the entirety of the cast would have surely met their end if the animator hadn't had a stroke. and it has Terry Gilliam go.
First time I saw that, I couldn't stop laughing. I actually had to stop the videotape. I was laughing so hard. It collapses back.
Yeah, I mean, it's so absolutely absurd of this animation and this giant thing with its flapping feet stomping to the sides, and as it's chasing him through all these stalactites and stalagmites, and then suddenly it's about to get them for sure, and then Terry Gilliam dies.
Nice.
So good. It's like Life of Brian, that bit where Brian falls off the one building and he lands inside the spaceship and goes out, fights an interstellar battle, and the ship comes back and crashes like 50 feet from where he was in the first place, and it continues getting chased. That whole segment of him falling into the spaceship, goes up to space, lasers shooting back and forth. They get hit. The other ship's blown up. These aliens get hit. It spirals. It crashes. That is the segment in the midst of the Life of Brian film that was directed by Terry Gilliam.
Oh, okay.
The rest of it's Terry Jones.
Oh, all right. Okay. I haven't seen that film in so many years. It's like it's been a long time since I've seen that.
But this 5-minute segment, this 5-minute completely random segment is Terry Gilliam. And the rest of it, the entire rest of the film is Terry Jones.
Is that right, eh?
That's fantastic to me.
Who is credited as the director, though?
Terry Jones with Terry Gilliam.
Terry Jones? Oh, okay.
No. Yeah, Terry Jones, the most convincing and successful female comic in the history of British television for years. Because he's always the one who goes, listen up, Bugs! So completely unconvincing as a woman. And yet,
that's what makes it so funny.
He was like the principal go-to guy it's him. But don't be down, Mrs. Brown. Turn that frown upside down, and it's Eric Idle as he steps out of the television to convince Mrs. Brown to give up her liver by telling her how incredibly insignificant and significantly small she is in the scope of the universe. That's a pretty extreme level to go to in order to get somebody to donate their. So can we have your liver? Oh, I suppose.
Yeah, and people still do want to do like a goofy female voice. They'll imitate that.
Nobody does it. Nobody ever did it as good. No, it was the subtle stuff that was the best. It wasn't a squeaky one that was the best. It's when, well, so now that your husband's deceased and John Cleese is leaning against the wall, and John Cleese is tall like me, right? So he's like above Terry Jones. And he goes, so you're a single widowed woman now? And Terry Jones does this. fresh.
I remember that now. Jeez, for long I've seen that.
What's that?
I just, as you told that, that came back to me. It's been so many years since I've seen that one, but because I've seen Holy Grail so many times, but Life and Brian, I think I may have only seen once or twice.
My favorite film still, and now for something completely different.
Different.
Is that the opening of that film is a Terry Gilliam piece about the permanent insurance.
Oh, okay.
And all about corporate raiders entering into the insurance game, which used to be this old, upstanding British institution of, these gentlemen that were looking out for your welfare and well-being and all sludging away. But the way that he depicts it, as the corporate buildings move into the environment, and of course he has physical buildings move into the environment, right, into the actual environment. He has everybody. He then depicts the ships. The buildings are they're boats. The buildings are battleships.
Yeah.
And so when
fantastic miniatures in that blew me away the first time I saw it. Because I thought, Jesus Christ, these are amazing.
Yeah, and then he goes on and does Baron Munchausen, eh?
Yeah.
After that, well, he'd already done Jabberwocky, and he'd already done something else. I think he might have done Brazil, and then he did The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, and that film's just fantastic. I got an opportunity. I met Sir John Neville and took photos of him at the photo studio that I worked at.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and so I got an autographed photo of him for my sketchbook. And it says, "To Chris, thank you for your appreciation of art, Sir John Neville." Right? Looking like the bon vivant.
Jeez, yeah.
Where was that? I just saw The Miser at Stratford.
Okay, yeah.
And it was starring Colm Fiore, the Canadian actor who's good cop, bon cop, mal cop, whatever it is.
Okay, yeah.
But he was also the Lord High Regent of the Necromongers from that Riddick movie. I don't know if you remember the Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh God, I know I've seen it. I saw it once years ago, and I don't think I saw it again.
Well, he's like the Canadian version of Stanley Tucci, which is a weird enough reference in itself. Anyways, but we went and saw The Miser, which is a Moliere play, and it's about how foppish the kids have become, and how they're not frugal or have any sense at all, and how the father of these two kids, he really wants, and money is really important to him, and he wants to make sure they have provision and wants to make sure everything's going to be good for them. But of course, the boy is, in a powdered wig and the face paint and the whole deal, and the daughter is just salacious. So, but in the version what we just saw at Stratford, everybody was camp, and the problem with that is that there's no characters to bounce that off. If everybody is camp,
right,
where's the base of comparison? There is none, right? And so it's just, not my favorite version of that at all.
Yeah.
There's a funny one in the British one with Lee Mack as the butler, and it's a much more prominent role than they made it out at Stratford. But, they modernized it, and just didn't work. Didn't work for me.
Just one of her selected. There we go. Sorry, I just need to do something. What was the live? Wasn't there a famous Monty Python?
Live at the Hollywood Bowl.
Live at the Hollywood Bowl. That was it. That was a good one. God, I laughed at that.
It's so good, eh?
That's right too. Was because it was one of their, I don't say it was their first American show, but I know it was one of their more. I was popular just because it got caught on because they recorded that one or what, but I know it was
It was just them at their peak of abilities for sure. There's also a couple films called The Secret Policeman's Balls.
The Secret Policeman's Other Ball, was it?
Secret Policeman's Ball is
okay.
It's two big concerts that were held for UNICEF or for Children in Need or something.
Okay.
And so there's the Secret Policeman's Ball, and then the following year they had the Secret Policeman's Other Ball. And, you know, it was considered really risque at the time they did it, right?
Sure.
For them to do it, but it's amazing the lineup of performers they had for it. So I still say Sensation Seekers all the time because of the Secret Policeman's Ball. There's a thing with Sylvester McCoy where he is in this bunch of performers and himself. There's I can't remember the actress, Billy something. But he's the actor, the dwarf actor that was in Willow and all kinds of other things as the older senior magician.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Yes.
So
I can see him and I can hear his voice. I know who you're talking about.
Hello, Willow. You know. So he's in this comedy troupe with him and Sylvester McCoy, who was the seventh Doctor Who, and and then they got this guy, and I swear to God, it's Van Morrison. It's not, but it's, you know, good evening, Sensation Seekers. So I've been saying that for years, and nobody knows what it's from.
Nobody knows.
Good evening, Sensation Seekers. And so the whole thing is that this one guy has set up a track, and on said track is a train, and it's to go in one circumference around the stage, where they've tied Sylvester McCoy with chains to a chair.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And if the train makes a complete rotation around the track, it will go, as they describe it, hurtling into the halls of McCoy. And of course, you know, as he's desperately trying to scramble loose of these chains and stuff like that, and all of this nonsense is going on stage, and they're making bad jokes, and it's just brilliantly funny and then fine. But the best part is that this little toy train that has a fork at the end of it is the big thing of dread, and the camera keeps cutting over to it as it's moving down the track, you know, and cuts back to Sylvester McCoy desperately trying to get it out, and then finally ends with the little train dropping off the track and landing in his crotch. It goes, oh, right. That's the whole bit. Yeah, and Rowan Atkinson at the Secret Policeman's Ball filled in for somebody.
Oh my God, is that right?
Yeah.
For heaven's sakes.
When they did, when I was young, we used to get up at 4:30 in the morning, half an hour before we went to bed.
Right, I remember that sketch. Yeah.
You try to tell kids that these days, and they don't believe you.
No.
Father, we'd come home, and Father would slash us in two with a bread knife and dance upon our graves, singing Hallelujah. You try to tell kids about that today, and they don't believe you. Nope. No faith in our elders. So absurd.
God, I haven't seen those in years. Years ago, actually, I think it was when I was in college. There was one of the roommates that I was with. He was obsessed with Monty Python, and he used to have all of those on VHS, and he'd constantly be playing them all the time.
Oh yeah, everybody knew somebody in the 80s and 90s
Oh,
that was that person over and over again, right?
Oops.
And Blackadder and Hitchhiker's Guide and
my folks loved Blackadder. We had some of those on VHS.
Oh yeah.
We had some of the episodes.
What are you two unbelievable morons laughing about? Well, you see, Blackadder, Baldrick and I, at the market, we found a turnip that was exactly in the shape of a willy. Oh, they both start laughing. and then Tony Robinson with an amazing portrayal of Baldrick. He goes, I find it particularly interesting, my lord, as I've got a willy exactly the shape of a turnip.
I remember the one that made me laugh, Hugh Laurie trying to say anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Oh my God.
And it's like, yeah.
The act?
What's that?
When the two thespians were trying to teach him to act?
No, it was he told him because Blackadder said to him he had to go get somebody, and it was the one with the election. And Blackadder was like, I'll be back before you can say anti-disestablishmentarianism. And he walks out the door and he's like, anti-distinct. And then it cuts 3 weeks later, anti-distinctly dismunty. It just cuts to something else altogether. And he's still like trying to say it.
I like the acting episode when Blackadder keeps saying, he goes, so, because I haven't had such a rousing good time since the last time we witnessed a grand performance by Olivier at the Scottish play. Oh, yeah. And he goes, by Scottish play, do you mean Macbeth? And they're there, hopefully they have to make amends, right? And
they have to do
each other's nose. Yes. And he goes, do you do that every time I say Macbeth? Oh, I knew someone else who used to do something like that. It was a friend of mine from Scotland. I believe his last name is Macbeth. Oh, it's just a bastard.
He would constantly say it yeah.
His aunt and uncle, the turnip episode is where the aunt and uncle, Aunt Lavinia, is going to bequeath him this money if he turns out not to be a scoundrel.
Right.
And we don't have time for pleasure in our lives. Well, what about sitting to eat? Is that not pleasurable? When we sit to eat at home, you filthy boy, and she slaps him. We both of us sit upon this a cone. And he goes, when we go to enjoy a proper meal, Percival here sits upon a cone, and she points it, of course, at her husband, and he has his face. What do you sit, Auntie? I sit upon Percival. Such a ridiculous joke.
It is.
But those are the best ones. I mean, that's what really made that show work so well.
So funny, yeah.
And it had such a rough start because the first Blackadder series hadn't really found its footing yet.
Yeah,
it didn't allow him any charm.
And he was very different in it. Like he wasn't. He was quite the opposite of what he became in the future episodes.
Yeah,
I remember.
And then
I didn't.
Sorry.
I was just going to say I never did see the first one till years later. I'd had no idea what it was because I came into. I didn't discover it until the second series, and so So I seen the second, the third, and that Blackadder goes fourth. And I never did see the first one, come across it until years later when they were finally being released. And finally saw it, and I remember thinking I was being kind of a little disappointed. It wasn't what I was expecting. I didn't realize he was going to be the
villain,
sort of the idiot, the foolish one of the.
Yeah, it was really interesting because it had Brian Blessed in it. There's Brian Blessed is, listen to me, Edmund. Everything he says, he shouts, right? And there's a fantastic BBC special with Stephen Fry tracing the origins of swear words. And why do we swear? You know, and that's Stephen Fry kind of a pontificating way.
Right.
And so he and Brian Blessed,
God,
are putting their hands, they're plunging their hands into ice water. And they notice that when you're challenged like that, then you'll swear.
Right.
And that swearing actually helps you adapt to the situation and the anxiety of the moment. But if you can imagine Brian Blessed thrusting his hands in the ice water, going, oh, poop, bop, blip, flop, flop, you know. Steven's beyond himself as he's doing it. It's one of the greatest moments.
That would be funny to watch.
Yeah, there's a show that called Would I Lie to You or something like that. I can't remember what it is now. But it only lasted a season where Brian Blessed was one of the guests on the show. And so he would ask a question and then the panelists had to answer it. But these guests would give anecdotes, and the one that Brian Blessed had given was because he's friends with the Queen. He's climbed Everest twice or 2 or 3 times. Brian Blessed, right? And so he's friends with he was literally friends with Queen Elizabeth. But he would call her Knuckles. And the reason he called her Knuckles is because she would get cross with him every time he swore. Whether they were in conversation or whether it was something that he'd done publicly, like a film or a TV show or something.
Right.
She says, I do wish you would change your language. And she would just give me a little knuckle in the arm right here. and David, I can't remember. David, he was on Peep Show for years. David.
Oh, no, I don't know.
David Mitchell. And he's the host. And he says that he thinks his brain has just blown out because Brian Blessed is telling a story about his friend Knuckles, who's our queen, chastising him for swearing publicly. He says, I don't know if I can figure out which end is up anymore. Like he's just like, it just baffles me, that story. And he says, oh yeah, she herself can at the time use, a common pronouncement of a slang term. Of course, she may perhaps say something small and trivial like the word fuck, which means, of course, to bathe. and the whole cast of panelists, they're just done. They're done. The show's just pure chaos for the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh my God.
None of them can find composure about how the fact that the Queen has informed Brian Blessed the word fuck is actually Saxon for to blade. And they're like, the fact that the Queen told you that kills us. Kills every single one of us.
Funny. Oh my God.
But you have to love stuff like that.
Could you give me about 2 minutes? I've got to run and use the boys' room.
I think I'm gonna have to get moving on at this point.
Okay.
I'm taking a new medication because I'm type 1 diabetic now, right? I take the
you gotta watch that
medication, and it is putting me to sleep earlier. Who knew?
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, and this is early. This is me starting to feel sleepy early, and it's 20 to 1 in the morning. So yeah, the long years of being night owl artist. Now, mind you, it might make me sleep, but I still get up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So
All right. Oh, well,
yeah,
thanks for
sorry
coming in
to
tonight,
abandon you.
No, not at all. Not at all. You got to. It's been 2 hours. It's nice to have you in here and chatting with you. I'm glad somebody came in.
Well, no, it's Paul was
So,
visiting. We had a number of people chit
Paul came
chatting.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a tricky thing to get your with the internet situation and everything sorted out for tonight's show, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you stuck to it.
Yeah.
And,
I actually booked this night off work, and I kind of fought for it for a while to make sure I kept it because I know they're really stressed at work for people. And I says, look, I just want Halloween off. So so she managed to get that, and I kept it. And I says, I'm taking this night off. I got the next 2 nights off as well, so I'm going to take advantage
party
of
weekend. That sounds to me
that.
like
Well,
a pig.
yeah, not exactly partying.
Well, either way, you've got 2 days to get crack-a-lacking, and I like what you got going on with your ship design there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was really sort of hacking at this, but yeah, I need to find a better system for drawing this. But do you know actually one of the ideas I had this because I had all these different ships that I knew I was going to put in different positions, and I had this idea, and I may still do it, of building the little ships out of cardboard, just painting them white, and then photographing them in different positions, just against a green screen or a black screen, and just taking different photographs in all different positions. And then I can drop it in and draw in the details of it over top. So that it has a little bit of three-dimensionality to it, because I am not going to learn something like Blender or CGI now. Like that's just, I tried once and it's just gone. Sure. I can't pick that shit up. But I thought I'd really like to do it physically, like three-dimensional, and do that. Just drop them in. I think that might actually, I might actually do that, and then just draw kind of over top of it. I can add all the details in after. So, but I think that might.
That to me, right? I mean, aside from the creative assembly of the item that you're going to illustrate, that to me is as great an idea as something as simple as going and getting a Hot Wheel dinky car and just holding the dang thing up like this and looking at it in different angles as you're drawing the police chase or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
It's you have to figure out what at the bottom of a real car looks like, but that Hot Wheel at least gives you the insight into the form of this ship.
Well, part of the reason was to save a bit of time. Like I didn't want to keep drawing the perspective over and over and over and over and over again, because for this it's going to be very time consuming. But I thought and I don't, as I said, I can't learn 3D graphics. It's just right now that's just beyond me. But I thought if I had something physical, I could just take a picture, drop it in, and draw right over top of it. That would save me so much time, and it would be in natural perspective. So, so I may do that.
Kit bashing. It's called kit bashing. Just find little greebles and bits and bobs and different different model sets or whatever else, and you put all that together on your thing. But that's looking good. What you got there is looking good right now. So.
Yeah. It's the perspective is off slightly on it. I'm going to fix it a little bit on the windows, but but I don't know. Yeah, maybe in the next little while I'll try and do that. I'll try and see if I can. I have to sit down and kind of measure out all the site, because I still haven't actually figured out exactly the dynamics of how this is going to work. The shape of it. It's supposed to have a narrow front, but a wider. Like this should be wider, and the back area back here should be wider than it's going to look like a dog's head. The whole ship is sort of blocked, but it kind of looks like a dog's.
It does now.
Yeah, because there's when the wings come in, it's like ears almost up, right? So it's gonna.
There you go. Yeah.
It's gonna kind of look like that. So.
Well, it's already looking like a dog's head now, so you got a great start. So and once you've got that additional assembly on there, I think it will fan out a larger back area than a front. So
Yeah, it'll all come together. Yeah.
Nice.
But
yeah, dog sheds, the best kinds of spaceship to fly in.
Yep.
Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming in. We'll definitely be, if you're around online the next couple of days, let me know. Hit me up if you want, and
I will be probably coming on at 10 tomorrow, or
okay.
somewhere in the like.
It's a shame I don't get up till 10:30 or 11, because I tend, because I'm such a late night owl, I'm not up in time. But otherwise, I'd hop in. Maybe I'll have to start forcing myself to get up at that time. But
I'm always around. I'll be. I try. I'm aiming at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock is the times I come on.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
All righty.
Thanks again, sir.
All right. Have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. You too.
Super cool. Thanks.
Right. And I am going to take a pause here.